Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to our first video on this brand new channel, Built by Trading. Again, this is going to be a get down to business, prepare for each week. This is the overall market analysis video where I go over the SPY, QQQs, and all the other sectors so we can have an idea of what is going on. Big picture view for the market. All right, so let's get to it. Per usual, let's start off with the S&P 500 cash index, the SPX. If we look at it, we're 3.13% off of all-time highs. Really, the biggest thing that drove this was Trump's new 100% tariffs on China because Z said something about exports and things like that. You can go read about it, look it up. But that is what really kind of got this move underway, and it was a big move. It happened quickly and it happened in one day. We had a 2.71% pullback one day. So it took out a lot. It took basically, if you look at the screen here, it took out all of the gains since September 17th. So how many days, trading days is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 days of trading taken out within one day. It's pretty wild. Volatile. Welcome volatility. All right. Anyway, so that's what XPX is doing here. 2.71% down. Weekly, we're down 2.43%. On the month, we're down to 2% about. And then year to date, we're up about 11.5%. Looking at the SPY, that shows the ETF instead of the cash index. It's nearly the same thing, right? We're going to go to RSP next. This is the equally weighted S&P 500. So what I mean by that is the standard SPY, the heavyweights, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, CrowdStrike, ServiceNow, all of those heavy names, they make up a huge percentage of the SPY. And so the RSP equalizes all of the 500 names, so it moves equally, right? So if you look, either way, we had a huge move down, 2.25% in one day, 3.73% off of all-time highs. Weekly, 3.21% down on the week, and then we're down 2.4%. But year to date, we're still up 5.6% or so. But if you look at it, really, the market overall on an equal level basis hasn't really done anything. It tried to break out here. Obviously, it has failed, and now it's kind of at the bottom of this end range. So where might we find support? It could be in this area here. If you want to draw a potential support box here, we're kind of at that, right? And then also, I guess I forgot to mention the lines here, okay? The white line is the daily 8 EMA, blue line is the 21 EMA, the yellow line is the 50 EMA. Also on here off to the side, if you didn't notice this yet, I have the percentages off of all-time highs and the dollar amounts off to the side. And so I would encourage you guys to think about drawdowns and pullbacks in terms of percentages, not necessarily levels. Levels work fine, but also in the back of your mind, think of them in percentages because algos and the machines, they work off of percentages as well. So I have them in 2.5 percentage marks. Okay. All right. Let's go to the cash index for the Qs. Again, big move, down 3.5% on the day. We're still up 15.27% on the year. Either way, we did close below the 21 EMA and the 50 EMA near the 5% pullback is at 23.93.5.51. That could be an area of interest. However, at the end of this, I'll go over the news of what probably has a potential to take all of this back. Looking at the Qs, here we go. So we could also look at this as a breakout and a retest, right? Even if we go back to this SPY. Right, you can even look at this level here and it's pulling back to it, right? So even at the Qs, you can look at this as a breakout and retest of this level. Potential area of support here, okay? All right, let's look at the Dow. I don't really trade any heavily like in this ETF, but it's good to know where it's at, and it is at the rising 50 EMA. Let's go IWM, the Russell 2000, same thing, nearing in on the 50, close below the 21. Okay, so when things in general, when things close below the 21 EMA, or like the moderate term MA, some people use SMAs or 20 versus 21. Their areas, in my opinion, it doesn't matter that much. Either way, when price closes below that, that's when you get a little defensive, especially if you're trading short term like I am. Okay. All right. Let's move into the sectors. XLB, Materials Fund. You can see like this isn't really doing anything. It's chopping around in range. Maybe it pulls all the way back to this area here for potential support. We'll find out. XLC Communications. So again, top three, maybe not again. I don't know if you knew this or not, but the top three names in here are Netflix, Meta, and Google. So those names are heavyweights within this XLC, so Communications Fund. So whenever they move and whatever direction they move in, most likely this is going to follow, right? And so how you can use this is, okay, XLC is getting hit. Let's say we didn't know about Trump basically saying China's going to be fine, okay? If he did not tweet that, I would anticipate further downside, especially with it closed below. So then you can go in and look at these names, Netflix, Meta, and Google. What are they doing? And then look up to see which ones have your best setup. That's how I use this, right? So overall, look at the funds, at the sectors, and then maybe those three names, which I do trade those three names regularly, they'll have good setups provided. Okay. So XLC getting hit. You'll see a lot of this is getting hit. Energy, maybe we get a further pullback to this area here. It's not too far away, but energy did get hit. As a commodity trader, oil is also now in play, especially with it breaking the range. And volatility has entered. Financials losing the 50. If you want, we could look at prior levels of resistance flipping to support. So maybe financials pull back to here. This area, let's just say 51 to 50, let's say 51.50 to 51. Maybe that has a potential coming in. Top names: Visa, JP Morgan, Berkshire. Let's go XLI. This already kind of pulled back to a potential support area. So industrials, we can go potential support area there, right? And top three names: Uber, RTX Corporation, and General Electric. So keep an eye on those if you're interested. I don't really trade industrial. Actually, matter of fact, I don't trade these three names at all. Tech, I spend a lot of names in tech. The top three names in tech are NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Apple. I don't think anybody should be shocked at that. They're just heavyweights of that, right? Tech got destroyed. Down 4.5%. Sorry, not 4.5, nearly 4%, just over 4%, 4.4% away from the all-time highs. Again, if you want to go the technical analysis route, here are prior highs. You can see it broke out. It held here, closing below the 21 EMA. So I am going to be on the cautious side coming into this week. However, there's already a lot of tweets and people talking about Trump backtracking what he already said about China. And telling us it's all going to be fine, right? And so we're really looking and eyeing what to see what futures are going to do tonight when the market opens up. Okay, XLP, consumer staples. Top names in here are Walmart, Procter & Gamble, and Costco. You can see, grand scheme of things, it just kind of chops around, but that's kind of the nature of this, right? It is at a prior area of support. It's a little off, but this is a little congested area. I did draw this a long time ago. But everything is down. I'm not really interested in this, to be honest with you, but there's a look for you. Real estate at a potential support area here. Let's go utilities. Utilities also got hit, but you can see that this is very strong. If you look at the MAs, the EMAs I have on here on the chart, they are trending up, right? The trend is your friend. You want to go with the trend. And the trend here is obviously up. I don't use EMAs to buy off of. I use them to tell me direction. Here you can see a nice breakout and a retest, and then off to the races we go ever since the lows of September, really. And so that was a pretty nice breakout retest look right there. You can probably take a picture of that and study that if you aren't familiar with it. XLV healthcare. You can see this was range bound. Broke out here on September 30th. Made a huge run over the next 4 days or so, chopped around, and now it's skipping back. It's getting hit just like the rest of the market. Shouldn't really be shocked. However, in the grand scheme of things, if you zoom out, downtrend line for you downtrend line traders. This is now broken. So a couple things you could do. I don't trade like this, but a lot of people do. You could say, okay, great. We broke the downtrend line. Now it's coming back. We're going to look for the retest and then the push away, right? And that would be your entry key. You could put a stop loss below the low of the downtrend line retest. You could also treat this as a breakout and retest if it pulls a little bit further back than the downtrend line. Just some ways to play it. But either way, how I would do it, because I trade individual names, I don't really trade these funds. I would look into Eli Lilly, Johnson & Johnson, and then AbbVie. I don't trade these names regularly, but looking at this, again, within this sector, the healthcare sector, these names might now be in play. I haven't looked at them, but that's just my general thought process there. Let's go XLY. Consumer discretionary, top 3 names: Tesla, Home Depot, and Amazon. Getting hit, right? Tesla's been a little hard to trade. So is Amazon, actually. I don't touch Home Depot typically, but those are your top 3 names. When this becomes in play, that's what I would look at, especially Tesla and Amazon, because I trade them regularly. Looking up, though, the trend is up. You might be able to actually label this as a double top. A lot of people will call it a double top right here. Technically, that I am aware of and educated on, it's not necessarily a double top until it breaks this support, which on Friday it did indeed break that support. However, with the news, we'll see what actually happens on Monday. This could be a failed move, and from failed moves comes fast moves. You've heard that. Yes, if you haven't, now you have. Okay, let's move on to crypto land. There has been a lot of news in crypto land. Unfortunately, I've been reading a lot that individuals have taken their own life because of the sweep on Friday. It's very sad to hear. My heart goes out to the family and friends of those individuals. This is why it is also important to manage your risk and making sure you're not over leveraged in these things. Okay. Looking at IBIT, you can see that if you want to go the TA route, prior support in that area, try to break it, it failed. Okay. Where might it go? If, depending on where it actually opens, there's prior resistance area. It tested around the area, and it kind of held support. I'm gonna lower that right there. So I would look at this 61, 62 area. However, crypto now with Bitcoin is getting a nice 4% pump because of the news and Trump saying that, hey, don't worry about China, everything's going to be fine, right? So there's a nice pump after it. We'll see what actually comes after it, but you can see that this prior area of support, it held, right? This was an area of interest until that breaks down. Bitcoin just is kind of in a box. It's in a range. It's not doing too much. Sure, you can make money off these quick moves up. Let's see, what's the percentage move we moved here? 10% move from there. So you can make money there, but in a global, grand scheme of things, zooming out, it's just been chopping around in an area, in a zone. I'm not super interested in it. And then here we go. What I mentioned at the beginning, this is crude oil futures. It broke the 60 level. You can see where it's ranging around, and from the TA perspective, technical analysis perspective, it broke the range, came back, retested it, hit the down trending EMAs, if you want to consider that, and then it has confirmed it wants to go lower. So whatever happens, oil is in play for our commodity traders this week, especially in our group, and we are being prepared for it. So that'll conclude this. I hope these videos are beneficial for you, are valuable for you. In my opinion, it's a good idea to know what the overall market is doing, to be prepared for the next week, and to know where and what sectors are in play. Because as you can see, the top three names, they move the sectors. And then if those sectors look ready to run, you can pay attention to those three names for potential trade setups that might work for you. All right. So if you find these valuable, like, subscribe, share, comment. I'm very open to feedback. If I can make these more valuable for you each week, please let me know. Other than that, I have the weekly individual heavyweight stocks video coming up next. Have fun watching that. Good luck this week. Trade well, manage your risk. We'll see you next time.